What's up, y'all? And welcome back to the Worship Podcast. Listen, today we're going to be discussing a certain tribe that literally has set up camp, right? I guess they were being called from some sort of place. You know, they say they were called by Most High, by Yahweh. A lot of individuals have called them an African tribe, right? But honestly, let's call it for what it is because they do talk about the Most High and things like that. So they're supposed to be like a Hebrew Israelite tribe. So we're going to be discussing that here today. Apparently they're being evicted from Scotland. Let's dive deep into why this whole thing is taking place. What is going on here? Why is it going on? And what's happening? All right, we're going to dive deep in that and shed some light on it because here at the Worship Podcast, we believe that light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience, and that patience will create unity. So let's get unified in the spirit, y'all.
Is the sheep preaching hate? It says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore. If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf the violent one? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop him. Do whatever you have to do to stop him. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate. He's violent.
This is the moment a tribe living in the Scottish woodlands have been served with an eviction notice and threatened with court action. The tribe have been camping in the Jedburgh woodlands since May this year and have been experiencing tension with local residents.
Obviously today, in a coordinated effort, both the council, the landowner and police sought legal action to begin the process of eviction. They have been given an ultimatum effectively to either comply by Monday, 8th of September, or they will face the escalation of the matter, which will lead to ultimate eviction by forceful means.
They seem unwilling to engage. Today they were served with the notice. They haven't even read it. They were singing and dancing around. What do you make of that sort of feedback?
Yeah, well, this has been going on for some time, and we have tried to engage with them with adult protective services and all the other elements of social work, and that has been the reaction we've received each time. You know, we are willing to work with them, we are willing to speak to them. They obviously do need help, and we wish for them to seek that, but if they aren't willing to seek it, we can only do what we can, and that is invoke the legal action.
Oh, hail Atihene, the king!
So my thing is this, right? They're in the middle of the woods. If the property doesn't belong to anybody specifically, why do they believe that they can evict somebody from land? You understand what I'm saying? If the land doesn't belong to somebody, if it's not privately owned, then why do they believe that they can evict them? And so that's the thing with us as people. Like, I'm very curious about this because if the land is not claimed by anybody, well, I mean, it's land. It should be free to be able to set up camp, to do whatever you need to do in that particular land. I think that, you know, with them having an issue with these individuals, it's got to go a little deeper than what it truly is right now, right? Like, they just literally living in the wilderness, in the woods, or whatnot. And how you evict somebody from land that's not yours, like, I don't understand. But this is Scotland, so I don't understand the laws in regards to what Scotland does. I don't know, but it's not yours. It belongs to no one. So how do you evict people? Let's continue.
Of Great Britain, you step on the land given to you, my Lord, by God, Yahweh. You shall reign supreme in Britain. No one can evict the heir of the throne from his own land. You reign supreme, Atihene.
Speak, my queen.
Long live the king.
Good afternoon. Thank you for taking.
Yeah, no. I mean, if he didn't have enough violence to be able to match the level of violence that the Scotland authorities would bring to this particular land, listen, of course he can be evicted. You can be put out of a certain area or location, whatever it may be. So my thing is this, right? That, unless he has the level of threat or the level of violence to meet the same level of violence or greater, right? Because you're gonna have to be greater. Then 100% they can go ahead and evict them. So without I guess the forces, you know what I mean? Like king, or you know what I mean? You taking this title of king. But my thing is this, they're a polygamous tribe who set up camp in Scotland. Apparently he's from Ghana, right? It's not an African tribe, but they believe in Hebrew Israelite customs. You know what I mean? So let's continue to listen in as to what they got to say. It's just a very odd situation. It's given nature boy, right? Like this is the type of vibe that is given off, is that nature boy vibe. And what they really ought to do is start to find some sort of land they can purchase rather than just camping out, you know what I mean, with the potential with the possibility of being put off that land. But let's continue, y'all. Let's continue.
Time to speak to us. Much appreciated. There's been a few developments recently. You moved from the other site to here, and in recent days there's been a bit of an escalation with some alleged attacks on the camp. Could you just tell me what's been happening the last couple of days, possibly, and with these attacks, are you worried?
All right, that's not, you can excuse us.
Yes, my king.
I am the king of Kubala. I am the king of the lost tribe. Many people who are ignorant of the times we are in are taking things in their own hands, trying to fight what they understand not.
Can you show us some of the damage that was caused?
I'm pretty sure you all saw the lady who pulled the tent here.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone saw the video where the tent was bent here. The king has managed to salvage it a bit, but she pulled it out here. And just the day before that happened.
That was wrong. That was absolutely wrong. Regardless on if you agree with them being there or not, that's just, you shouldn't damage their property because you disagree with them being there. I get it if they're doing something that's outrageous or something that is disturbing your peace as a person or whatever it may be, because they're maybe being destructive in ways. But this is never a way to go, to treat folks like this and to show up and to try to damage their property, especially when it comes to being somebody who is, I guess, non-melanated. You know what I mean? But the same sentiments ain't really had in Ireland, right? Like they don't hold the same, like, somebody's being a Karen type of energy. You get what I'm saying? But it's never okay to just show up there and start to break things, destroy things because you disagree with somebody being there. That's never okay. That's a very childish way to behave. And honestly, that wasn't right. You know what I mean? For her to do that. I'm just going to say that now.
Some children threw a huge stone right in here. And I don't know if you can actually see it.
You see, now she's destroying the property. Now children are following suit in that, right? And it tells you everything about the order of things. Honestly, when things are out of order, so are the children. The children are also out of order. The children will begin to behave in such ways that they are not, they're just not well behaved. They just start to be out of order, right? If things aren't in proper order. They, just a slight off or slightly off, whatever it may be, it will get them to start acting out. You get what I mean? Because there's no balance. The balance has been shifted and it's no longer there. So you got these children throwing stones, throwing rocks, destroying their tent, destroying their property, all because they see the adults and how disgruntled they are and what they're talking about, how disgruntled the adults are talking, whatever they're speaking on. These children are acting it out. And that's how it manifests itself, because that's just kind of what it is, right? It'll manifest itself in their personality and the way that they behave, right? They'll start to behave differently because of the adults and the way that they're approaching the situation and the way that they behave, right? So this is what we got now. destruction of property. They're destroying the property regardless, even though they disagree with them being there, which is it's not right. You know what I mean? No matter what.
But it's in there, like towards the back. It was a huge stone.
Was that not frightening?
Of course, yeah, we were just sitting inside, and obviously it could have hit one of us, but
Were these attacks not
So I
frightening?
want to also point out the fact that this is the way that our people was treated in the U.S., in the Western culture, Western society, back when segregation, slavery, things like that were around. Still to this day, we still suffer some sort of forms of that as well, where they do have sundown towns in certain states, where you're gonna have that level of hate going toward a certain group that they just disagree with them being around, disagree with them existing, things like that, right? And in no way am I advocating for these individuals who are in the woods here, doing what they're doing, but I am for, in fact, saying that this is the same thing, the same process of hatred. Next thing you know, it leads to murder, right? It leads to unaliving, right? Things like that. That's where it just ultimately leads to, right? The physical harm. And so I'm just identifying some of these key points because it's like this is how it all really starts. It cultivates when the adults are not behaving well, or they're losing their temper, or they're not being very mature about a situation. They prefer to talk about it and say certain things, especially around children, for them to overhear the conversation, and then those children will take on that offense, and then they'll go act out what you see here. They'll act it out. It'll start to manifest itself in obvious ways, right? And then that goes on to the next generation, with developing a hatred for a certain group of people. But this is the so-called king, right? He's self-proclaimed king. He's giving the nature boy vibes. You know what I'm saying? He's doing all of that, So I'm not too sure as to what this guy is up to or what he is doing, right? But honestly, this is interesting. And it goes to show you as well, like, anybody can pop up and then be like, hey, I'm this person, pop up and self-proclaim themselves to be a king. And you'll have some people that just blindly will be led right into it. They'll just fall right into it. And it's typically women, you know what I mean? Usually a lot of time, unfortunately, no offense, unfortunately, a lot of times that's what takes place. It starts with them, and then men will come through because of whatever reason. But let's continue. Let's continue. Let's hear what he has to say.
Frightening for you?
When you are born to kill a lion, you are not afraid of the attack of an antelope or a deer. We were born as warriors with the faith of more than the world has ever seen. So when they come and they attack, it's laughable because our ancestors have gone through worse. There were more frightening times in Great Britain 400 years ago, where they may come and behead people and just throw people to alligator, etc. But today, I do not think they can go that far. So because of that, we are not afraid of anything which Esau shall do in this land that we dwell. We dwell peacefully, we dwell safely. We do not even move from this place. The only time you will see a Kubala is when they are going to the shop. So if this life is still a border to the community, then I'm sorry to say that they are cowards. Why are you afraid of three, a man and two women, when there are thousands of people in Jethro?
And so to protect the community and also to protect them, we have deployed mobile CCTV in the area, and the police have confirmed they will increase support in terms of policing on the ground.
How do you think this is going to play out?
I think it will be an escalation, and I think that again will probably lead to more tension. What I'm trying to appeal for is calm from the community, allow us to get on with the job here, and seek a better outcome for the group as well as the town.
The council said you've been non-cooperative.
If they sell this, the council is a very interesting one, because they always bring one who comes with the intention of undermining our values, our culture, our standard of living, prejudice. For instance, you have come here. If you were coming and you had police behind you, what tells me is that you are coming here thinking we could harm you. Hence, you need a protection of the police. Children even come here to speak to us. The council comes with police. How do you expect the king to speak to you if you think I'm dangerous? Hence, you need the police protection. It means your mindset about us is different, that we are a harmful people. Hence, we do not engage with anyone who comes here with wrong intentions.
What do you think of ordinary people that live in this area that think what you're doing is totally bizarre?
Living is living. They can live in places with walls. We live in places without walls. We are alive. They are alive. They eat. We eat. They bath. We bath. They sleep. We sleep. With all the things I've mentioned, which one would they call bizarre?
And there they are in the paper.
Yeah,
Can I ask what your opinion is? And this seems to be escalating the situation. They got attacked the other day. People aren't happy that they're here.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Well, they're not doing any harm, are they? They're not harming anybody. It'd be different if they were coming into town and robbing the shops and that, but they're not doing anything, so I can't see the harm in it.
What about them being attacked?
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know whether a lot of it's true or not, what you read, although there is videos online of them being attacked, so I guess that is true. But, some folk in Jedburgh are helping them, and then other people are attacking them. But the people that are attacking them, from what I believe, aren't Jedburgh people.
No.
They're from out of the town. So what's it to do with them?
Sure.
And they're not harming anybody, from what I can see.
You've come here today to the outskirts of Jedburgh to come and see this African tribe.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what's going through your head and why have you come?
I don't know, just to see what it's all about, really. Like, everybody's been going on about it. It's been a craze on TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook. So, yeah, we're going to see what it's all about.
Are you just curious?
Yeah.
Have you been before?
No.
What do you make of the fact that they're living here?
I don't actually know. I really don't know. It's a hard one, because they have done wrong, but then what harm are they actually doing out here?
Yeah.
It's one of the things of, let them be. But I suppose, the landowner has asked for them to leave, apparently, so they should leave by rights, because this isn't their land.
They've been attacked in recent days.
And no, they've not been attacked. They've definitely not been attacked.
Have you seen the video?
Yes. It's just people voicing their opinion, which they're quite open to. It's Scotland, it's a free country.
Yeah.
You've got a right to say.
What's going to happen here going forward, do you think? And what would you like to see?
I don't know. Maybe the community of Jed to be safe again, maybe. More for the kids' sakes, more than anybody else's.
Why do you not feel safe?
It's not that I don't feel safe, it's more for, kids are petrified.
In Scotland, it's going to be really cold in the winter.
It's just crazy to say because, when she's saying that, it'll be safe again, people are afraid of the unknown. So she's out there trying to figure out what people are talking about. So she'll know more about it, making a spectacle out of these individuals. But my thing is that she's saying that it's not safe. And they equate safety with things that they're not familiar with, things that are unknown, things that they're not I guess, cultured by. So, that's a long thing. And not only that, if they're not harming anybody, if they're not destroying any property or doing anything of that nature, they shouldn't be bothered, right? But there's been a fuss that's been raised, and I think it's really jeopardized their living, the way that they're living out there. And, hey, to each their own. If that's what he wants to do. Apparently he's a polygamist, and those are his wives. And so, biblically, I guess he's providing them tents, but it's like, this is just kind of what they're choosing to do. I mean, it's not like a thing as to where they're being forced, right? That's a whole different story. I know one of the young ladies who were living there uh came there with a child, and she says that she's not being forced to be there. She says she's more than willing to stay there. She's not being forced. But apparently her mother has been raising a real fuss about her being over there in Scotland, which is crazy, right? And the young lady was from Dallas, right? From Dallas, and she came from a broken home, and so she found refuge here with these individuals, and I guess, kind of removed herself from her old life, and wanted to be in a polygamous relationship with this guy and the rest of his tribes members in the middle of Scotland, or whatnot, because they believe that the rest of the of Israel, lost tribes, are going to be gathered in this location. How true is all of this? Listen, there's so many people who pop up with false narratives, okay, who say that they're something that they're not. And like the scripture says, that many shall rise up and to deceive many, right? My thing is that this is another situation where that could more than likely be a thing, right? So it's just a matter of taking a look at this situation, which they've evicted these individuals out of this current living space. The woman said that she wasn't attacked; they weren't being attacked. But if you're destroying their property, if you're throwing rocks, that is being attacked. So let's hear what he has to say real quick, and we're about to finish this thing out. Let's go.
How are you going to survive that? That's, I think, what I would like you to answer.
We live each day as it comes. The weather is a design by the Creator, the God that we serve. He created winter, He created summer, He created autumn, and He created winter. He is the one who protects us. So He has a better plan for us, where we shall be on that very day. Like I said, we may not be here in tents. We may be in a castle somewhere.
Tell me, you were previously an entertainer and on the BBC you featured, for instance. Is this the next level? Is it the next performance, the next level of that?
My ancestor, King David, was a musician. He used to sing and perform for even King Saul. But when the day came for him to become the king of Great Britain, he could no longer be a musician to the people, but a king for many. This is my story.
All right. All right, so that's a bit about these individuals, man. Listen, they have definitely been catching quite a bit of fire lately, right? In regards to their decision or choice to live out there in the woods and to practice the lifestyle they're practicing. I really want to shed more light on the situation in regards to what brought them to this point, right? What brought them to the point as to where they're now out here living, things like that. But either way, it's like if they're not causing any real issues, right? I mean, some people would label this as being a cult, and I wouldn't disagree with that. It's giving Nature Boy, it's giving those Nature Boy vibes, but it didn't seem like he's the same type of guy as Nature Boy. But the outdoorsy, what I mean? Multiple wives situation, but wanting to live, off the land, so to speak. But Nature Boy was in some real wild. If you guys don't know who the guy Nature Boy is, he's currently in prison now. He's serving, I believe, a life sentence in prison at the moment. I'm not too sure how long he's going to be there. But if you go check him out, this guy is not nearly as bizarre. He's not as crazy and off his rocker, right? But they do have similar formats, right? Similar formats as being out in the nature, right? Hence Nature Boy. But the guy Nature Boy really started to turn very bizarre. It became real weird, and I believe that a lot of the members talked about it. That it started out as a joke. It started out as a game. It started out as just a ploy to make money online, and then it really turned into their reality. You understand what I'm saying? Everything that they went through started to turn into their reality. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and dive into, what they have to say in regards to the situation and, them being put off the land. I want to dive into that real quick because honestly, they've been evicted from the land. Like I said, how can you, if it's not owned by or privately owned, how can you evict people from land that you don't privately own? That seems interesting to me. But they definitely did it. They definitely did it. Which hey, it is what it is. It's not like you're supposed to be there, or like you paid for the land itself, bought the land with a price or anything like that. It's just that you showed up and pitched a tent. So let's dive into why they're getting all of this negative publicity, this negative attention. You got individuals all the way from the U.S. calling in the embassy to go and raid into Scotland in regards to one individual. Let's dive deep into what's going on here real quick, and let's see what's being said. All right, let's.
Cops have been called in to investigate claims that the handmaiden of a tribe living in woods was groomed and is being treated as a slave. It's understood that family members of Cora Taylor, who is missing from Texas, and worried members of the public raised concerns after watching social media videos shared online. Officers have been sent to visit the Tribe of Three on several occasions in a bid to speak with the 21-year-old who is part of the controversial Kingdom of Kubala tribe. Cora has been camping with the self-styled king, Kofi Ofe, and his wife, Jean Gasho, in Jedburgh since May. A source told how several calls were made to Police Scotland, and her mum back home in America has been urging people to report her daughter to authorities. The insider said, "It is clear from the number of complaints that people are concerned for her welfare." There have been reports that she has been groomed by the husband and wife duo, and people suggest she is now being treated as a slave. Police officers will continue to visit the site to carry out welfare checks and will take any action as appropriate. Cora's mum has been urging people who are concerned to make reports to the police. In a recent interview, the mum of one told how her job is to keep their tent and illegal campsite in woods near Jedburgh clean. She declined to answer earlier this week when asked if she had been groomed by the couple.
Cora, do you think you've been groomed as a youngster by this couple?
Oh wow, more people.
Do you think you've been groomed, Cora?
And there are clearly concerns from your family in America as well. Does that play a part in your thinking?
Again, other people's concerns don't really matter to me because these aren't people who care about me and these aren't people that I care about. The only opinions that matter to me are the family that I have here, the trees, the birds, the creepy crawlies. That's who I'm concerned about, and that's who I know is concerned for me.
Asna, what about your baby? You talk about family. You came here with a baby. You're not concerned about your baby's welfare?
People ask questions about the children of Kubala all the time. That's not really my story to tell. Any child of mine that I give birth to is a child of the Queen's. And any child of hers is also obviously kind of like my second child. I'm like their second mother. So it's a great mystery of who gives birth to the children around here, because we obviously practice polygamy. So in our marriage, we all bear children for the Queen. So again, that's just not my story to tell about the children. If you want to know the stories about the children, feel free to ask the King.
But you came to join the group with a baby, so that would have been part of this tribe's baby, would it? That would have been your baby back in America.
Again, any child of mine is a child of the Queen's. So if you want to know anything about the children of Kubala, it's not really my story to tell. But feel free to ask the King.
Are you not concerned about the child that you had, the child that you gave birth to? You're not concerned about that baby at all?
Again, your concern matters nothing to me. So it seems like you're more concerned than I am. But any child of the Queen's is a child of mine as well. And I love them all, and I miss them dearly. Obviously, there's no children running around here. So they're all missed very well. But they are in the care of our God. He looks over them, he comforts them, and he reassures them that they will come back. There's no doubt in my mind that all of the children will come back, and they are well taken care of right now.
How on earth did you find your way to Scotland from America?
Yeah, it's actually...
So they went in and took the children, right? Seized them from these individuals. And like I said, you just got to have a greater threat. If you're going to want to live like this and live life like this, you're going to have to be just as much of a threat to these individuals as they are to you, or else they could be able to do whatever they would like to do because of the level of threat that they do have. The threat of to possess the ability to I guess cause damage, or to have a real conflict, and to be a power player in this whole thing. Like, listen, they got forces, right? They can be able to move and get things done with. So you're just as much, I guess, obligated to comply as anybody else who can't fight back, right? Who can't defeat that level of threat. So that's where you're at, especially when compounds get raided, when people get raided and charged with RICO charges and things like that for what role they're part. Listen, they're going to do what they're going to do. Now, I'm not too sure what their laws are like in Scotland. Of course, I don't live in Scotland, so I can't say anything or talk about the laws in Scotland. But if they're anything like the West, if they're anything like America, then it's like, whew, this right here is a very interesting play, and this is how it all started, right? Because they saw her, so on social media being treated like a handmaiden, and that's what they considered her to be. And then the family started to raise some red flags and started to really complain about it, right? And knowing that she's in Scotland, and they like, how the hell did she get to Scotland? He must have paid for her to go to Scotland or whatever it may be. And I'm just like, wow, yeah, that's interesting. But they're calling her a handmaiden. What's even more interesting is that she's claiming that she's bearing children for the Queen. That's interesting too, because I would think that she would be bearing children for her husband, for the king, or who they say is the king of their tribe. That's what I would believe, right? But she said she'd be bearing children for the Queen, right? So they got a little setup going where it's like Old Testament style. She's a handmaiden, to the Queen and to the king, things like that. That's interesting. So let's continue.
Actually, a very, very divine encounter. The life that I used to live was very hard, a very rough life. I come from a very just rough background, and Yehovah would send me dreams and visions leading me closer and closer to this life, to these people who now I call my family, my husband and my mistress. And I wouldn't trade it for the world.
How did you meet them?
I met them years ago and I've been knowing them for a lifetime and a lifetime.
How did you meet them?
I met them years ago,
Where?
and I've been knowing them for a lifetime and a lifetime.
Where did you meet
them?
them?
The first encounters that I had with them were in dreams and visions. Before I was revealed a face and a name, Yehovah told me exactly what the head of my life would look like.
So I guess I don't know why her face is so dirty, but I guess that's what they do. Smear mud on their face. That's what they do. But either way, you know, she said she met them and she's known them for a lifetime and a lifetime. This is interesting because a lot of people would say that she's brainwashed, right? That they've brainwashed her into behaving, to speaking this way. She could just been a spiritual girl who saw them and what they were about and thought she wanted to go out there and be a part of it. Um, you know, this is another situation where it's like you don't really know until you actually ask the hard questions, until you actually get down to the bottom of it. You wouldn't really know if she was being groomed, right, until you actually know the truth. But for sure it seems as though she's taking this spiritual approach, right? Highly spiritual individual, you know what I mean? Like, um and I'm really just trying to understand what their aim is. What is your goal when you're out here? Is your goal to build an actual empire? I know that there are claims that they are waiting on other individuals who are of the line of Judah, right, of the line of Jacob, the descendants of Israel, right? The true Israelites, to be able to come to this location, and they believe that the Most High is going to send them to Ireland, to Scotland, right? And that's what they believe. They believe that the Most High is going to send the people to Scotland, and which is interesting, which is very interesting, y'all. Very interesting. Why Scotland? Why Scotland of all places, right? But it's a vision that they've been given, but it ain't one that's been given to me. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't share the same position. But my thing is that it's interesting to watch folks, right, and to see it, right, like coming out of a cult like environment, and then you observe something that's like, okay, that's kind of occultish. But you know, of course, what really solidifies a cult as a cult is when you start to try to strike fear in the hearts of the members, right, of the people who are with you. When you're trying to strike fear in their hearts, when you're trying to coerce them into staying and continuing on with your ministry, or else they'll go to hell. Those type of things, right, is what really marks somebody as a cult, right? So let's continue.
Who he would be, what he stands for, his values, his principles, his physique. And then he revealed his face to me, his name.
How did you get to the UK? By plane? When?
I got to the UK by a very divine form of transport.
Plane.
I arrived here safely.
When
safely and unharmed in one piece. That's what matters. All praise be to Yehovah.
Were you trafficked to the UK?
I don't know anything about trafficking or even how it works or what that has to do with anything. Again, if I wanted to run away right now, you would see me running up this road. If I wanted to run away, I could even run further into those woods because, again, we live in the woods, so it's kind of hard to be held captive.
But do you see yourself potentially as a victim of trafficking?
Again, if I was being held captive, I have every mean to free myself.
You don't have to be held captive, though, in order to have been trafficked. You may have been told that you were coming to the UK for a specific purpose, and maybe that's not how it's turned out. That could also be trafficking. Is that something that you've thought about?
Right. So, again, I don't know anything about trafficking. You're telling me what it is. So you should also be the one to tell me whether or not I've been trafficked, apparently, because you know more than I do. I think you have enough content for the day. Y'all have a nice day.
Her family have told of their fears she is being used by the older couple she is living with. Cora's mum previously begged her daughter to return home to Texas. Melba Whitehead, 45, claimed the couple radicalized her daughter online, then helped her travel to the UK without her family's knowledge. Her 1-year-old daughter, who she left Texas with earlier this year, was taken into care by UK authorities and is understood to have been returned to the US to live with relatives. Offa and Gasho have also had several children taken off them by social workers. Earlier this week, a sheriff granted a second eviction order to move the group from council land. They mocked.
Yeah. So this is what's taking place, y'all. And it's pretty crazy, right? To know that, there's individuals out here who are like on this type of time, but honestly, they pop up from time to time. You just gotta keep close watch on them. Now, I believe that they have been banned from Scotland all in its entirety. I believe that they needed to cross borders, right? And they were not allowed to be in Scotland because they did not want them to be set up in their woods. Whatever. I believe that this is the Most High's land, right? And so they should be able to live how they would see fit. But at the same time, I can understand if they're forming like a cult type of situation, then that could be a real issue. That could be a real problem. Only time could really tell that, right? Only time could really tell that. All right. So y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Was this a cult that was trying to form? Is this a cult trying to form, right? What do you think about their lifestyle, their manner of living, their manner of lifestyle? Put it in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video and also comment and subscribe, okay? Comment and subscribe and holler back at your boy, right? We'll see you in the next video. Peace and shalom, shalom.